delivery started to the lunar receiving laboratory. These boxes include the samples of the various types of rock, the ground mass of the soil, the sand and silt, and the particle collector for the solar wind experiment, and the core tubes that took depth samples of the lunar surface.
Roger, Neil. Thank you much for that description. We've got a pretty dark picture down here. Could you check your f-stop? We'd like to have it, see if you could open it up a little bit, over.
Okay, our monitor showed that to be very bright. Yeah, we're down around around F4, which we thought would be plenty light. We'll lighten it up some more.
Well, we'd appreciate it. It's pretty dark on all our monitors here.
Okay, fine.
It's looking a lot better now, Neil. There's Buzz. Houston, we have an excellent picture now, over.
How do you read me, Charlie?
5 by now, Buzz, over.
Okay. More mundane affairs. Now that we've left the moon, I'd like to trace through a little bit for you developments that have taken place in the food department. I'm sure you've always this type of a drink container. A little later, Mike will show you how the water gun operates with its new filter to take out the hydrogen. Essentially, this water gun is put in this end and filled up this bag with water, and the drink then dissolves in the water, and this end of the outfeeding. Likewise, we have other foods that are more solid nature. You can probably see this shrimp cocktail meal. This afternoon, while the two of us had salmon salad. Another early development was the use of bite-sized food.
11, Houston, Buzz, you're breaking up badly. Would you check your Vox, over?
All right, how am I coming through now, Charlie?
Roger, you're very clear when you come through. It's just that your Vox is not keying at every word, over.
Okay. These bite-sized objects were designed to remove the problem of having so many crumbs floating around in the cabin. So they designed a particular size that would be able to go into the mouth all at once. I think since all of our experience, we've discovered that we can progress a good bit further than that back to some of the type meals that we have on Earth. Matter of fact, on this flight, we've carried along pieces of bread. And along with the bread, we have a ham spread. And I'll show you, I hope, how easy it is to spread some ham. Environment of 0G. We've discovered that it is quite easy to all very familiar with.
Apollo 11, Houston, we notice your roll rate increasing. Would you please see if you can bring that down to about 0 for us, so we'll be losing a high gain shortly, over.
We can also use zero gravity to demonstrate many things that we've all learned in school. I'd like to demonstrate briefly how easy it is to explain the action of a gyroscope. If I spin this can, we know that according to the equations of motion, that we would expect that if once this is given a spin, and has a spin axis in this direction, if we give it a particular torque, and I'll do this by pushing my hands against it in this fashion once it's spinning, by the equations we can predict that as I put this torque on it, it will in fact rotate this direction. Let's see how well this works out. As I applied the torque this way, it rotated this way. Too close, I think.
Houston, it's a pretty good demonstration.
Houston, this next is a little demonstration for the kids at home, all kids everywhere for that matter. I was going to show you how you drink water out of a spoon, but I'm afraid I filled the spoon too full, and if I'm not careful, I'm going to spill water right over the sides. Can you see the water slopping around in the top of the spoon, kids?
That's affirmative, 11.
Okay, well, as I say, I was going to show you, but I'm afraid I filled it too full, and it's going to spill over the side. I tell you what, I'll just turn this one over and get rid of the water and start all over again, okay?
Okay.
And you can see up here we don't know where over is. One up is as good as another. That really is water, though, I'll show you. That's really not the way we drink. We really have a water gun, which I'll show you. Here's the water gun. This cylindrical thing on the end of it is a filter with several membranes. One allows water to pass, but not any gas. The other allows gas to pass, but not any water. So by routing the gaseous water, which comes from our tank, through this filter, we're enabled to drink purified water without the gas in it, filtered water. And of course, all we do to get it started is just pull the trigger. Sort of messy. I haven't been at this very long. It's the same system that the Spaniards used to drink out of wineskins at bullfights. Only I think this is even more fun. Well, be seeing you, kids.
Thank you from all the kids in the world here in the Moker who can't tell the Earth from the moon.
All right, just stand by one and we'll get you that earthquake.
Looks like you need a wineskin up there, Mike.
That'd be nice. Okay,
K11, Houston,
you have a picture now, Houston?
that's affirmative. I refuse to bite on this one, though. You tell us.
Okay, this should be getting larger, and if it is, it's the place we're coming home to.
Roger.
No matter where you travel, it's always nice to get home.
We concur, 11. We'd be happy to have you back.
This is the commander of Apollo 11. 100 years ago, Jules Verne wrote a book about a voyage to the Moon. His spaceship, Columbia, took off from Florida, landed in the Pacific Ocean after completing a trip to the Moon. Seems appropriate to us to share with you some of the reflections of the crew as the modern day Columbia completes its rendezvous with the planet Earth in the same Pacific Ocean tomorrow. Here's Mike Collins. Roger, this trip of ours to the moon may have looked to you simple or easy. I'd like to assure you that has not been the case. The Saturn V rocket, which put us into orbit, is an incredibly complicated piece of machinery, every piece of which works flawlessly. This computer up above my head has a 38,000 word vocabulary, each word of which has been very carefully chosen to be of the utmost value to us, the crew. The switch, which I have in my hand now, has over 300 counterparts in the command module alone of this one single switch design. In addition to that, there are myriad of circuit breakers, levers, rods, and other associated controls. The FTFE engine, our large rocket engine, on the aft end of our service module, must have performed flawlessly or we would have been stranded in lunar orbit. The parachutes up above my head must work perfectly tomorrow or we will plummet into the ocean. We have always had confidence that all this equipment will work and work properly, and we continue to have confidence that it will do so for the remainder of the flight. All this is possible only through the blood, sweat, and tears of a number of people. First, the American workmen who put these pieces of machinery together at the factory. Second, the painstaking work done by the various test teams during the assembly and the retest after assembly. Finally, the people at the Manned Spacecraft Center both in management, in mission planning, in flight control, and last but not least, in crew training. This operation is somewhat like the periscope of a submarine. All you see is the three of us, but beneath the surface are thousands and thousands of others. To all those, I would like to say thank you very much.
This is Houston. We're getting a good picture of buzz now, but no voice modulation. And would you open up the f-stop on the TV camera? Try 22, please. It appears to be a lot better now. We're still not receiving buzz's audio.
Good evening. I'd like to discuss with you a few of the more symbolic aspects of the flight of our mission Apollo 11. As we've been discussing the events that have taken place in the past 2 or 3 days here on board our spacecraft, we've come to the conclusion that this has been far more than 3 men on a voyage to the moon. More still than the efforts of a government and industry team. More even than the efforts of one nation. We feel that this stands as a symbol of the insatiable curiosity of all mankind to explore the unknown. Neil's statement the other day upon first setting foot on the surface of the moon, "This is a small step for a man, but a great leap for mankind," I believe sums up these feelings very nicely. We accepted the challenge of going to the moon. The acceptance of this challenge was inevitable. The relative ease with which we carried out our mission, I believe, is a tribute to the timeliness of that acceptance. Today, I feel we're fully capable of accepting expanded roles in the exploration of space. In retrospect, we have all been particularly pleased with the call signs that we very laboriously chose for our spacecraft, Columbia and Eagle. We've been particularly pleased with the emblem of our flight, depicting the U.S. Eagle, bringing the universal symbol of peace from the Earth, from the planet Earth, the moon, that symbol being the olive branch. With our overall crew choice to deposit a replica of this symbol on the moon. Only in reflecting the events of the past several days, a verse from the Psalms comes to mind to me. I consider the heavens, the work of thy fingers, the moon and the stars which thou hast ordained. What is man that thou art mindful of him? Responsibility for this flight lies first with history and with the giants of science who have preceded this effort. Next to the American people, who have, through their will, indicated their desire. Next to 4 administrations and their Congresses for implementing that will. And then to the agency and industry teams who built our spacecraft. The Saturn, the Columbia, the Eagle, and the little EMU, the spacesuit and backpack that was our small spacecraft out on the lunar surface. I'd like to give a special thanks to all those Americans who built those spacecraft, did the construction, design, the test, and put their heart, all their abilities
into those craft. To those people, tonight we give a special thank you. And to all the other people that are listening and watching tonight, God bless you. Good night from Apollo 11.
This is Apollo Control, 179 hours, 9 minutes, ground elapsed time. During the past half hour, there have been some exchanges between spacecraft communicator Bruce McCandless here in Mission Control and the crew of Apollo 11. One item, they're trying to sort out and troubleshoot some difficulties with the biomedical sensors attached to the chest of Command Module pilot Mike Collins. Let's play back the accumulated tape, and hopefully by the time it's ended, we will have picked up communications again, and we'll rejoin the conversation live. Roll tape, please.
Houston, Apollo 11.
Apollo 11, this is Houston, over.
Roger, how's our thruster firing activity? We're about ready to crank up PTC if you are.
Roger, go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
Apollo 11, this is Houston, over.
Go ahead, Houston.
11, we'd like you to shift to an Omni antenna configuration at the present time. We're requesting the S-band antenna Omni switch to Bravo and the S-band antenna Omni switch to Omni. The high gain antenna track in manual, pitch -50, yaw 270, over.
Roger, I'll do that right now.
Roger, and if Mike has a minute, we'd like to do a little bit of troubleshooting. It seems he's either flat-chested or something because we've lost respiration rate on the biomed telemetry. That is, the ZPN trace down here is flat.
I used shave a little bit ago. They might have. Hold on one. All the blasted wires are all connected, is all I know.
Okay, Mike, we had a request that you disconnect the yellow connector from the signal conditioner and verify that it looks okay, reconnect it, and then if you would check the 2 electrodes that are placed, one on each side of your lower rib cage, over.
I'll bet you there's a smile on Charles' face.
Cliff is not on right now. Gene Kranz just relieved him a few minutes ago.
Roger that. All those wires and things look normal up here.
Roger, Mike, we could see variations on our trace as you connected and disconnected, but the medics still don't have a signal. Looks like you're sending us a message of some sort.
I promise to let you know if I stop breathing.
Apollo 11, this is Houston, broadcasting in the blind, request Omni Bravo, over. Apollo 11, this is Houston, communication reestablished. Apollo 11, this is Houston, would you confirm you are in Omni Bravo, over?
Okay, that ought to give it to you.
Roger, out. Apollo 11, this is Houston. Mike, we're still getting a flat trace on you for the impedance pneumograph. Before you turn in this evening, you might try putting some fresh space in the sensors, and if that doesn't work, the medics have agreed to forget about it. Over.
Mike's off the loop right now. I'll convey the message.
Okay, thank you.
Here's the Apollo M again.
Roger, Mike. The trace on your respiration rate is still flat. If you have time this evening before turning in, it was suggested you try putting some fresh paste in the 2 electrodes that go on the side of your lower rib cage. And if that doesn't work, just give up on it.
This is Apollo Control. Columbia now 85,198 nautical miles out from Earth. Approaching Earth at a velocity of 6,443 feet per second. We're still standing by for resumption of air-to-ground communications. Which may be difficult inasmuch as Capcom is leaving the room. We'll continue to monitor air-ground as the crew prepares for their pre-sleep checklist, sets up the passive thermal control mode, and sacks out for about a 10-hour rest period in preparation for tomorrow's entry and subsequent recovery in the mid-Pacific aboard the carrier Hornet. Now hove to on the aiming point, or near the aiming point. Standing by at 179 hours, 27 minutes ground elapsed time. This is Apollo Control. This is Apollo Control. 180 hours, 25 minutes ground elapsed time. We have some 4 minutes accumulated tape and recent transmissions between Columbia and the ground. We'll roll these tapes at this time.
Hey, 11, this is Houston. You might tell Buzz not to exercise quite so strenuously. Over.
What's the problem?
Say again?
What's the problem?
Okay, that's one on us. 11, Houston. Seriously, that comment was just aimed at your musical selection.
Okay. Come on, Neil, not so fast. You have an ergometer up here.
What was that? Real-time exercise?
Just running the ergometer.
Roger. Apollo 11, this is Houston, over.
Go ahead, Houston.
We'd like to know what your plans are as far as turning in this evening. The flight plan will show you commencing a rest period of about 182 hours. What are you planning to do on that? We're going to be watching the weather here, and we expect to have an update on the weather, I guess, in about another half hour or 45 minutes to pass to you, over.
We're going to probably stick with the flight plan pretty much. We are going to check the lights in the northwest corner of U.S. and southwest corner of Canada. If we can see up that high into the northern hemisphere, other than that, we'll be on the flight plan.
Roger. For your information, the laser from McDonald Observatory in West Texas will be up from about 181 hours and 30 minutes on for 1 hour. You should be able to spot the Earth out of the #1 window every time you pass roll 357 degrees, and they, of course, are in West Texas, over.
Okay, thank you. How about the #5 window?
Stand by a minute. Roger, for the #5 window, that'll be every time you pass 230 degrees and roll, over.
Beautiful, thank you. You guys are on your toes down there. Let's have a new star chart. Let's have a new star chart, huh?
Oh, we've got a fresh FAO here.
Honeysuckle, Houston, contact. Net 1, voice check.
Honeysuckle, read you loud and clear.
Roger, read you the same.
Houston, Apollo 11. How much longer do you want to keep charging battery B?
11, this is Houston. And nominally, we're looking for about another hour and a half, but what we'd like to do is continue charging until shortly before you turn in for the night, over.
That'll be fine. Are you going to want to charge A again at all?
Negative, 11.
Okay.
Hey, 11, this is Houston. At about 180.45, we'll be handing over from Goldstone to Honeysuckle, and I'm handing over to Charlie. See you when you get back, over.
Okay, Bruce. Good night. Thank you.
Roger, good night.
Thank you very much, Bruce. Been a pleasure working with you.
Have a nice trip down.
This is Apollo Control. The weird noise has been reported by network controller is not being on the downlink from the spacecraft. Now it's stopped. Let's leave the circuit open here in the period prior to the time the crew goes to sleep and monitor the air-ground circuit. This is Apollo Control. I've been standing by now for quite some time for resumption of communications, but apparently no one is saying anything tonight. Apollo 11 now 78,134 nautical miles out from Earth, approaching at 6,785 feet per second. And at 181 hours, 17 minutes, ground elapsed time, this is Apollo control. This is Apollo control. We've had one brief communication from Apollo 11. Spacecraft communicator Bruce McCandless is out of the room. The assistant flight director, Chuck Lewis, went down to the console to talk. Let's play that tape back and rejoin live when the conversation picks up again.
Houston, Apollo 11, over.
Apollo 11, Houston, go ahead.
Roger, Houston. For retro, I have the anticipated location of all the entry stowage, and I suggest you pull out the entry checklist and we'll go through those maps in the front of it.
Apollo 11, Houston, could you stand by just a few minutes? Charlie and Flight are out getting a weather briefing. They'll be back shortly.
This again?
Say again?
Is this on?
No, this is Chuck Lewis. Charlie Duke is out with Flight getting a weather briefing right now.
Okay. You're not drinking coffee, I know.
They'll be back momentarily.
I stand corrected. That's Charlie Duke on the Capcom slot. Bruce McCandless in the last half hour has been relieved. Charlie is likely to respond now. He's putting on his headset. We'll listen in.
Hello, Apollo 11, Houston, over.
Roger, Houston, Apollo 11. Did you get the word on the entry checklist?
Roger, Mike. We sure did. We're ready to talk about it if you are, over.
I think the quickest thing is go through page by page, the first part of the entry checklist where it has a map. Starting on the page with compartment L2 and L3. Are you with me?
Roger, with you.
Okay, L2 is as shown, L3 is as shown. There's about half the food remaining in L3.
Roger.
Where it says note, the CMP PGA is located in the L-shaped bag with the other two PGAs. The LEM shield was jettisoned with the, the CMP's helmet shield was jettisoned with the LEM, and his helmet and gloves, instead of being in the sleep restraint, are in the hatch bag.
Okay, let's see. Now, your PGA is in the L-shaped bag with the other two PGAs, and the helmet and gloves are in the L-shaped bag instead of the sleep restraint.
The helmet and gloves are in the hatch bag, the great big bag that's underneath the left-hand couch that you put the hatch in.
Right, I thought that's what I copied. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, the next page is identical. Except nitpicking point at R1, we got the entry checklist. Other than that, it's identical. And the third page has got some changes.
Go ahead.
In A1. Are you with me? I'm over there in compartment A1 now.
Go ahead, Mike, over.
Okay, compartment A1, the 16mm magazine will be located in window number 4. Instead of 5 tissue dispensers, there's only one of them left. In compartment U3, the 16mm bracket is on window 4. In the PGA bag, add the CMPs, PGA, plus add 2 LCGs. In compartment A8, delete 2 LCGs, add 1 DPK, making a total of 4, and add 10 pounds of LEM miscellaneous equipment. We told you 5 the other day. We think 10's probably closer. Over.
Copy.
That's all the changes on next page. Ready for the next page?
Right, go ahead, Mike.
And next page, in compartment B1, we estimate about 15% of that food is remaining. In B2, we took PPK out of there and put trash in it. In B3, the 16mm cable, the 18mm lens, and the right angle mirror are on window number 4. And that brings you all up to date.
Roger. How about the levers, Mike? Where'd you put those, over?
They're in the hatch bag.
Roger. Stand by. Our only concern, 11, is with the stuff you got in the hatch bag. That's a pretty big bulk between you and A8, and we'd like to talk about moving that over to the sleeper train. If you'll stand by, I'll verify that, over.
Okay.
11, Houston, our recommendation on the gear you got in the helmet bag, in the hatch bag, would be to remove that stuff and put it in the sleeper train under the right couch. The reason is that the hatch bag straps are only configured for 0G, and it's a pretty difficult job getting it latched down. With the gear in the sleep restraint, it's a pretty standard latch down procedure, and you can also use the beta cord that you have on board. You concur, over?
Yeah, we'll look at it, Charlie, let you know.
Roger. And I've got a couple other things, Mike. We need to terminate battery B charge at this time. And also the weather is clobbering in at our targeted landing point due to scattered thunderstorms. We don't want to tangle with one of those, so we're going to move your aim point uprange, correction, to be downrange, to target for a 1,500 nautical mile entry, so we can guarantee uplift control. The new coordinates are 13 degrees, 19 minutes north, 169, 10 minutes west. The weather in that area is super. We got 2,000 scattered, 8,000 scattered, with 10 miles visibility and 6-foot seas. And the Hornet is sitting in great position to get to that targeted position, over.
This is Apollo Control. To recap briefly the conversation a few moments ago between Charlie Duke and the crew of Columbia, because of forecast thunderstorms in the prime recovery area in the mid-Pacific for tomorrow, the Apollo spacecraft's lifting capabilities will be used to stretch the entry path some 215 nautical miles farther downrange toward Hawaii to a new landing point, or aiming point, with the very rough preliminary coordinates of 13 degrees, 19 minutes north, 169 degrees, 10 minutes west. These numbers will be refined through the night as the retrofire officer exercises the computer and comes up with more definitive numbers. These will be passed on as they are available. Apollo 11 now 75,951 nautical miles out from Earth, approaching at 6,899 feet per second. at 181 hours 50 minutes and standing by on the air-ground circuit. This is Apollo Control.
Apollo 11, Houston, some of the general last-minute updates here. On the entry, we were told you on the camera to set it at 50 feet. Turns out the biggest number on the camera is 25 feet, so just set it at infinity. Over. Hello, Apollo 11, Houston. We're ready to put you to bed and say good night. If you give us your crew status report and verify that you changed out the CO2 canister a moment ago. Over.
Stand by. Okay, Charlie, crew status report follows. CDR 11023, CMP 10025, LMP 09027, canister change complete.
Roger, thank you very much.
No medication.
Roger, thank you. Could you give us an onboard readout, please, sir?
Stand by. Okay, BAT C 37, Pyrobat A 37, BAT B 37, RCSA 51, D 63, C 62, D 58.
Roger, copy. Thank you much. Apollo 11, Houston, it's a good night from the white team for the last time. We'll be off when you wake up in the morning. It's been a pleasure working with you guys. It was a beautiful show from all three of you. We appreciate it very much, and we'll see you when you get out of the LRL. Over.
Okay, Charlie, thanks to you and all the white team for a great job down there all the way through. Thank you. Outstanding.
Thank you.
Appreciate it very much, Charlie. Thanks.
Thanks to you guys, too. Houston, Mike, you get your chance to landing tomorrow. No go around.
Right, you're going to let me land closer to Hawaii too, aren't you?
That's right, sir.
This is Apollo Control. All good nights having been said, the crew of Apollo 11 is now preparing to get their 10 hours rest. And their last night in space here in the control center on one of the 10 by 10 Ida-4 television projectors. A drawing has been projected on the screen, ribbing Capcom Charlie Duke for his slight error yesterday on the television pass where he mistook the moon for Earth as a spacecraft midway between moon and Earth, and it says, "Neil, I just spotted a continent on the moon." Charlie, the camera's on the Earth now. Apollo 11 now 74,906 nautical miles out from Earth, approaching at 6,954 feet per second, and at 182 hours 6 minutes ground elapsed time. This is Apollo Control. This is Apollo Control, 182 hours 10 minutes ground elapsed time. We We thought that was all the air to ground for tonight prior to the crew going to sleep, but just a few moments ago there was a brief exchange reporting to Apollo 11 crew that the McDonnell Observatory in far west Texas had the spacecraft in their telescope field of view. Let's roll that tape now and then shut it down again.
11, Houston, we got some word just a moment ago that the McDonnell Observatory is, so they have picked up the spacecraft in their telescope. Over.
Outstanding. We've been looking for their laser, but haven't had much luck yet.
Roger, we'll pass it on to them, Neil. Thank you.
This is Apollo Control. That completes the very brief exchange of a few moments ago. At 182 hours 11 minutes, ground elapsed time, this is Apollo Control. This is Apollo Control, 183 hours 25 minutes, ground elapsed time. Columbia spacecraft now 69,520 nautical miles out from Earth, approaching at 7,262 feet per second. Crew now in their rest period. Started their sleep period a little over an hour ago. To reiterate the change in landing point, this is a weather avoidance situation where thunderstorms are forecast for the aiming point, the original aiming point in the mid-Pacific. Therefore, after the normal entry interface, the lifting characteristics of the Apollo command module will be used to extend the entry range some 215 nautical miles farther downrange toward Hawaii to a preliminary aiming point. That is, the aiming point may shift around between now and entry, which is some 11 hours 36 minutes from now. But at any rate, the aiming point as calculated now is some 13 degrees 19 minutes north latitude by 169 degrees 10 minutes west longitude. The preliminary time of drogue deploy is 195 hours 12 minutes. As you were, yes, 195 hours 12 minutes 4 seconds. And the net extension over the earlier splash time is something like 40 seconds. At 183 hours 27 minutes ground elapsed time, this is Apollo Control. This is Apollo Control. 185 hours, 29 minutes, ground elapsed time. 9 hours, 33 minutes until entry. Crew is still asleep at this time, scheduled to wake up at 189 hours ground elapsed time, some 3.5 hours from now. We've had no word from the crew since the scheduled sleep period began. Apollo 11 now 61,034 nautical miles out from Earth at a velocity of 7,815 feet per second. At 185 hours 30 minutes ground elapsed time, this is Apollo Control. This is Apollo Control, 186 hours, 28 minutes, ground elapsed time. 8 hours, 35 minutes to entry. Crew of Columbia still asleep at this time. Some 2.5 hours away from wake-up time at 189 hours ground elapsed time. Because of weather avoidance in the prime recovery zone in mid-Pacific, southwest of Hawaii, it has been decided some time ago to shift the landing point or aiming point some 215 nautical miles downrange from the pre-mission aiming point. And all of the numbers concerned with entry and post-entry events have been generated, and we shall forward them at this time. Pencils ready? Command module, service module, separation. 194:48:07 ground elapsed time. 11:20:08 Central Daylight Time. Entry interface. That's 400,000 feet above the Earth's surface. Ground elapsed time 195:03:07. 11:35:08 Central Daylight Time. Begin blackout. 195:03:25 ground elapsed time. 11:35:26 Central Daylight Time. 05G 195:03:35 GET. 11:35:36 CDT. End of blackout. 195:06:56 GET. 11:38:57 CDT. Drogue chutes deploy. 195:12:04 GET. 11:44:05 CDT. Main chutes deploy. 195:12:52 11:44:53 CDT. Touchdown 195:17:49 GET. 11:49:50 CDT. Maximum G loading to be pulled during the entry phase will be 6.12 Gs. Entry velocity, that's at entry interface of 400,000 feet, will be 36,194 feet per second. Flight path angle minus 6.5 degrees. Aiming point location 13 degrees 19 minutes north latitude, 169 degrees 09 minutes west longitude. At 186 hours, 32 minutes ground elapsed time, this is Apollo Control. This is Apollo Control, 187 hours, 28 minutes ground elapsed time. 7 hours, 34 minutes to entry. Flight Surgeon Ken Beers reports that all 3 crew members are sleeping soundly at this time. Their sleep period will end probably at 189 hours, although they may sleep an additional hour to 190 hours. Spacecraft being tracked now through the Guam station. A line projected out from Earth to what's called a sub-satellite point, or the point directly under the spacecraft, would put it over dead center of Australia. At 187 hours, 29 minutes ground elapsed time, this is Apollo Control. This is Apollo Control, 188 hours, 28 minutes, ground elapsed time. Apollo 11, now 46,254 nautical miles out from Earth. Velocity continuing to increase, now 9,081 feet per second. There'll be a dramatic increase in velocity as the spacecraft gets closer in. Here in Mission Control Center, the entry team headed up by Flight Director Milt Windler is beginning to come aboard. Handover in progress from Gene Krantz' White team. Crew still asleep at this time. Some 6 hours, 34 minutes from entry interface. And at 188 hours, 29 minutes ground elapsed time, this is Apollo Control.
This is Apollo Control at 188 hours, 43 minutes. Mid-course correction number 7 has been canceled, and we will add 1 hour of rest time to the flight plan. Crew will be awakened at 190 hours elapsed time. To repeat, we have canceled mid-course correction number 7, and we will allow the crew to sleep until 190 hours elapsed time. This is Mission Control, Houston. This is Apollo Control at 189 hours, 28 minutes. Apollo 11 is 40,961 nautical miles from the Earth, approaching at a velocity of 9,671 feet per second. Mid-course correction number 7 has been canceled, and as a result, we will let the crew sleep until an elapsed time of 190 hours. Weather in the recovery area. Well, we're getting a call from Apollo 11 now. Let's listen to that.
Roger. Good morning. What's the status on mid-course 7?
Roger, we were going to let you sleep in until about 190 hours. Mid-course 7 is not required.
Okay, thank you.
The crew gave us a call at 189 hours, 29 minutes. We advised them of the cancellation of the mid-course correction. Weather in the recovery area, the skies will be partly cloudy. Cloud bases at 2,000 feet scattered. Wind east-northeast at 18 knots. 6-foot sea, temperature near 80 degrees. This landing area is 215 miles to the northeast from the original landing area, moved because of thunder showers in the original area. This new location should allow the recovery ship USS Hornet to arrive in Hawaii 4 to 5 hours earlier than originally planned. We expect it may be possible for the carrier to arrive at Pearl Harbor somewhere between 8 and 9 o'clock on July 26th. That's Saturday. The crew is probably preparing breakfast now, and it's not likely we'll hear a lot from them right away, but we'll continue to stay up live for any conversation.
This entry timeline is my kind of timeline, nice and slow.
11 Houston, roger, it sure is. ETOM is anxiously awaiting his big moment here for the logic sequence check whenever you're ready.
Okay, we'll be ready for that in just a flash.
Roger. Apollo 11 Houston.
Go ahead, Ron.
This is Jim, Mike. Backup crew is still standing by, and just want to remind you that the most difficult part of your mission is going to be after recovery.
Well, we're looking forward to all parts of it.
Please don't sneeze.
Yeah, keep the mice healthy. Earth is really getting bigger up here, and of course we see a crescent.
Bill?
We've been taking pictures, and
Hey,
we've
Bill?
got 4 exposures to go.
Bill?
We'll take those and then back the camera.
And the Apollo 11 backup crew has joined Capcom Ron Evans at his console, Jim Lovell, Bill Anders, and Fred Hayes. Also, Donald K. Slayton, Director of Flight Crew Operations, is at that console.
Apollo 11, we're ready for the logic check whenever you are. We're standing by to arm the logic. We've got the ELS logic on, ELS auto, and all the circuit breakers in.
Apollo 11, Houston, roger, you can press on with the sex logic.
Okay, logic 1 coming on, mark it. Logic 2 coming on, mark it.
Apollo 11, Houston, logic check's good. You're go for pyro arm.
Thank you, sir. Houston, Apollo 11 has got VHF with the A4 turning on whenever you want to make contact.
Apollo 11, Houston, roger, you faded out a little bit there, Buzz. I understand you have the VHF simplex A on now. Is that correct, over?
That's affirmative, VHF simplex A, and we're PR and VHF.
Roger, mighty fine. We'll watch it as you're coming on in and let you know when the intelligibility is up, and we'll make a voice check with you at that time.
Houston, Apollo 11, I've been holding here in SCS control, minimum deadband rate low with the limit cycle on, just as a matter of curiosity if you guys wanted some fuel numbers from that.
11, Houston, roger, we copy in. We've been figuring it out.
Okay. It's a pleasure to be able to waste gas.
Roger, that's affirmed.
This is Apollo Control at 193 hours, 10 minutes. Apollo 11 now 17,158 nautical miles from Earth, velocity 14,633 feet per second.
Apollo 11, Houston, with a little recovery force information, over.
Go ahead.
Roger, the Hornet is on station, just far enough off the target point to keep from getting hit. Recovery 1 are the choppers there, they're on station. And Hawaii Rescue 1 and 2, the C-130s are within 40 minutes of your target point. Over.
Sounds good, thank you.
This is Apollo Control at 193 hours 20 minutes. Apollo 11, 15,854 nautical miles from Earth. Velocity 15,154 feet per second. We're 1 hour 43 minutes away from entry. And here are the altitudes at which the entry events are expected to occur. Entry at 75 statute miles. Beginning blackout at 62 statute miles. 05G, 57 statute miles. End blackout 41 statute miles. Drogue chute deployment 23,300 feet. And main chute deployment 10,500 feet.
Apollo 11, Houston.
Go ahead.
Roger, we don't want to jettison the hydrogen tank that's stratified, so could you cycle the fans in tank 2, please? Hydrogen tank 2.
You better believe. That old service marshal's taking good care of us. We want to take good care of it.
It sure has, hasn't it?
It's been a champ.
That was Mike Collins. Apollo 11 is 1 hour away now from entry into the Earth's atmosphere.
Hey, 11, Houston, I'll give you a time hack at 58 minutes to go. It's about 15 seconds yet.
Thank you.
Stand by. Mark, 58 minutes.
Roger.
This is Apollo Control at 194 hours, 10 minutes. Apollo 11 is now 8,000.
Apollo 11, Houston.
Go ahead, Houston, Apollo 11.
Roger, we have our updated state vector out there for you. Request pull and accept, over.
Okay, you got it.
Okay, here it comes.
Spacecraft distance is 8,393 nautical miles. Velocity 19,512 feet per second. Rescue and Araya aircraft are reported on station. And the Hornets helicopters containing the swimmers are reported airborne. Swim 1 is helicopter number 53. 3 swimmers from that helo are expected to place the collar on the spacecraft, flotation collar. Crew of Swim 1 consists of Lieutenant Commander Donald G. Pitchman, pilot.
Apollo 11, Houston.
Go ahead.
Roger, the computer is yours now. Looks like you're in VHF range here. So we'll try a VHF check for you. We'll just send the VHF up to you. Stand by.
Okay.
Apollo 11, Houston. VHF check on Simplex Alpha, over.
Roger, Houston. Apollo 11, VHF Simplex Alpha, loud and clear. Let me hear it.
Roger, 11, Houston. You're loud. Standard VHF noise, so makes you realize that S-band is good.
Roger, understand. Thank you.
Apollo 11, Houston, back up S-band now, and we're standing by for command module RCS activation.
Okay, we're just about there.
Swim 1's pilot, Commander Pitchman, is from Orlando, Florida. Co-pilot Lieutenant William W. Strawn of Plymouth, Michigan. Crewman James R. Johnson, Raleigh, North Carolina. The swimmers aboard Swim 1 are Lieutenant J.G. John McLaughlin of Spokane, Washington. Petty Officer Second Class Terry A. Muhlenbach, Chatsworth, California, and Petty Officer Third Class Mitchell L. Bucklew of Sanford, Florida. These 3 swimmers are scheduled to attach the flotation collar and then move away from the command module, while helicopter number 66 Designated Recovery 1 moves into the area and deploys one swimmer, Lieutenant Clancy Heidelberg.
Apollo 11, Houston, your go for pyro arm.
Thank you, Houston.
Lieutenant Clancy Heidelberg of Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, will deploy from Recovery 1 wearing a biological isolation garment, and he will hand to the crew through the hatch their biological isolation garments. At 194 hours 16 minutes, Apollo 11 is 7,512 nautical miles from Earth, velocity 20,304 feet per second.
Apollo 11, Houston, your command module pressurization looks mighty fine to us.
Looks good here.
And 11, Houston, I've got an update for about 4 items on your entry pad.
Ready to copy.
Roger, your max G. 063. Your noun 60, your gamma at 400K. 648. The range to go on the EMS 14033. And your retro time for V circular 0214. Over.
Roger, copy, max G, 6.3. R2 of noun 60, 6.48. Range to go EMS, 14033. RETV circular, 0214, over.
Roger, readback is correct there.
The crew of Helicopter 66 Recovery 1, the pilot Commander D.S. Jones of Madison, Wisconsin, co-pilot Lieutenant J.G. Bruce A. Johnson of Bremerton, Washington, and the 2 crewmen who will assist the astronauts into the helo, Chief Petty Officer Norval L. Wood of Carmi, Illinois, and Chief Petty Officer Stanley C. Robnett of Portales, Mexico, New Mexico. at 194 hours 22 minutes. Distance is 6,509 nautical miles. Velocity 21,366 feet per second.
Houston, Apollo 11.
Apollo 11, Houston, go.
Roger, the first horizon check, 194, 2306 at a pitch angle of 298. Does not quite fall on the 31.7 line. It's just a little high. It's within 5 degree tolerance.
Apollo 11, Houston, the horizon check there was supposed to be at 33, over.
Okay, that's fine, sir. Thank you.
Roger.
Helo number 64 is designated Swim 2. If that helicopter is closer than Swim 1 to the landing point, swimmers will be deployed from Swim 2 to attach the collar. Those swimmers are Lieutenant J.G. Wesley T. Chesser of Arlington, Virginia, Third Class Petty Officer Michael G. Mallory of Alderwood Manor, Washington, and Seaman John M. Wolfram of Fort Atkinson, Wisconsin. The helo's crew consists of pilot Lieutenant Richard J. Barrett of Squananoa, North Carolina, co-pilot Lieutenant George R. Kahn, Imperial Beach, California. Crewmen are Petty Officer Second Class Curtis E. Hill, Black Rock, Arkansas, and Petty Officer Second Class Richard B. Seaton, Hibbing, Minnesota. Apollo 11's distance now 5,411 nautical miles, velocity 22,642 feet per second.
Apollo 11, Houston, command module RCS looks fine to us.
Same here, Ron. Looks very good. Doesn't make as much noise as we thought. Some of them are barely audible.
Roger. And 11 Houston, the weather's still holding real fine in the recovery area. Looks like it's about 1,500 scattered, high scattered, and still 3 to 6 foot waves.
The air part of it sounds good.
Roger. Houston, I'll give you another mark at 33 minutes. Stand by. Mark.
Roger that. Houston, Apollo 11, do you have any recommended settings to catch the sunset over?
Roger, well, the time is 36:41, and stand by for some settings.
Okay, I'll probably only be doing it, maybe part of it at 6 frames a second, some of it at 1, so I can be changing settings as it goes through.
Roger, copy.
And the horizon check passes, it's right on the money.
Hey, mighty fine, sounds good. Apollo 11 Houston on the shooting at the sun, F-16th at 1/250.
Understand F-16 at 1/250.
Roger.
And the sun's going down on schedule. It's getting real dark in here.
Apollo 11 Houston, copy.
Distance 3,896 nautical miles, velocity 24,915 feet per second. And we're about 10 minutes away from the scheduled separation time now. Apollo 11's distance now is 3,000 nautical miles, velocity 26,685 feet per second. In the next 20 minutes, Apollo 11 will add almost 10,000 feet per second to that figure. technical difficulties have interrupted the radio TV news pool feed from the carrier USS Hornet and also the news writers' copy feed from that ship. The guidance officer reports the command module computer looks good and the guidance and navigation system is go aboard the spacecraft.
Apollo 11 Houston, we see you getting ready for SEP. Everything looks mighty fine down here.
Same here, Ryan. Thank you.
We're awaiting confirmation of separation. We confirm separation now from on the ground readings from telemetry. We can confirm separation.
11 Houston, you're still looking mighty fine here. You're cleared for landing.
Yeah, we appreciate that, Ron. Thanks. Right, gears down and locked.
Roger.
Altitude 1,288 nautical miles, velocity 31,232 feet per second. And Flight Director Milt Windler has just informed recovery, quote, we're on final for the carrier.
Houston, we got the service module going by. A little high and a little bit to the right.
Roger, thank you.
And it's rotating just like it should be. Thrusters are firing.
Good, it's got a lot of gas there to burn out too.
Coming across now from right to left.
Houston, roger.
.800 nautical miles high. Velocity 33,000 feet per second. Guidance reports Apollo 11 right down the middle of the corridor. 7 minutes away from entry.
Houston, Apollo 11, you're going to turn on the tape recorder shortly?
Hey, 11 Houston, you can go ahead and turn it on.
Okay, I'll have to go to command reset to do that.
Uh, 11 Houston, that's negative. All you have to do is turn it on. That'll be fine.
I guess I don't know how to turn it on then. I got PCM analog, record, forward, high bit rate, and barber pole.
Houston, we'll send the on command from down here. See if it works.
Okay.
Velocity 34,630 feet per second.
And our friend the moon whipping by the field of view right now.
Roger, copy.
Velocity coming up on 35,000 feet per second now. Three minutes to entry. Apollo 11 in the proper attitude, and
11 Houston, we'll have you for about 3 more minutes through Redstone and then pick you up after blackout through Orion.
Roger.
Apollo 11 lined up right down the middle of the entry corridor. Velocity is now 35,578 feet per second. We're 1 minute and 45 seconds from entry. Blackout will begin 18 seconds after entry.
Houston, Apollo 11, I'm going to go to command reset and turn the tape on.
Out. Hey, 11 Houston, recommend negative on that. That'll put us in low bit rate.
Okay, I already put it to command reset, but I still have barber pole on the tape. And my switch is high bit rate.
Okay, that'll be fine. And 225 there, if you can reach it, Buzz. The last two circuit breakers in the second row from the bottom, punch those in.
– 36,000 feet per second.
And 11 Houston, don't mess around with that 225 there.
Okay.
And 11 Houston, you're going over the hill there shortly. You're looking mighty fine to us.
See you later.
We're at entry time. Blackout very shortly. Range to go to splash, 1,533 nautical miles. There's blackout. This blackout period should last for about 3 minutes 45 seconds. At blackout, we were showing velocity 36,237 feet per second. Range to go to splash 1,510 nautical miles. The elapsed time for end of blackout, 195 hours, 7 minutes even. Drogue chute deployment time is 195 hours, 12 minutes, 8 seconds. And the control center will not attempt to communicate with Apollo 11 after drogue deploy time. We will leave the airwaves clear for the recovery forces. Araya 3 reported a visual contact. We're at 3 minutes 20 seconds since entry. Blackout should end about 3 minutes 53 seconds after entry. We're about 11 minutes away from landing. Araya 3 is the uprange Araya aircraft.
Apollo 11, Houston through Araya. Apollo 11, Houston through Araya. Apollo 11, Houston through Araya 4.
The Hornet reports Airboss 1 has visual contact.
Apollo 11, Houston through Araya, standing by. Over. Apollo 11, Houston, in the blind, Airboss has a visual contact.
The Hornet now reports a visual contact from the recovery ship. Hornet reports momentary visual contact has now disappeared behind clouds. We're 7 minutes 44 seconds from entry. Drogue chute deployment scheduled for an elapsed time from entry of 9 minutes 1 second.
Apollo 11 Houston, standing by for your disk reading, over.
Hawaii Rescue 2 reports an S-band contact with the spacecraft.
Apollo 11 Houston, stand by for your missed distance, over. Apollo 11 Houston, standing by for your disk reading, over. Strokes. Apollo 11 Houston, your disk reading, please, over.
Roger, right on, 169.17.
Apollo 11 reports right on. We take that to mean that the drogue's deployed on time.
169.15.
Apollo 11 should be on main chutes now. Hornet reports a sonic boom a short time ago. We're just under 4 minutes to landing. We will continue to monitor for any conversation between the spacecraft and recovery forces, but we will not initiate a call from now on to the spacecraft from the control center.
Apollo 11, this is Hornet, over.
Apollo Hornet, this is Apollo 11, reading the loud and clear. Our position 1330, 16915.
11 Hornet, copy, 1330, 1675. Any further data, over?
1330, 16915.
7 error.
Hornet has voice contact. Aircraft reports visual with 3 full chutes.
And condition of crew, over.
Okay, condition of crew, 3,500 feet on the way down.
11 is Hornet, copy. 11 Hornet, what's your splashdown error, over?
Okay, our splashdown error, our latitude longitude, 1330, 16915. That's
Hornet, roger out.
Hornet reports spacecraft right on target point.
Okay, Hornet, follow in, there's guys. Roger, clear up, don't shoot. Square 1 has Sarah contact ferry 150 holding. Ferry 150 holding. Ferry 190 holding. Hornet, roger up. Apollo 11 at 1,500 feet. Hornet, roger, copy out.
That's Neil Armstrong giving the position report.
One has a visual, just ahead, about a mile. Hornet, roger. Roger, this is Swim 1, Apollo 11. Roger. Yeah, looking real good. Hornet, copy. Hornet, page, understand. This is Swim 1, the command module is Staple 2, over. Hornet, roger. Okay, Hornet, this is Boss. I'm presently orbiting the stand at 1,000 feet as a spawn station commander. Hornet, roger.
Stable 2 is upside down. The flotation bags will right the spacecraft.
Command module is a swimmer, is in Stable 2. The dive marker is deployed and functioning. The shoots appear to be detached and are downwind from the command module. Hornet, roger. One, two, you're taking it. Roger, attack 235, base 13. 235, base 13. Swim 1, the command module is still in Stable 2. The dive marker is beginning to trail now. It's drifting slightly with the wind. The main shoots are detached and streaming downwind. Hornet, copy.
It normally takes 8 to 10 minutes for the flotation bags to right the spacecraft. Swim 1 is getting ready to deploy swimmers.
request commentary is available, over. Trailing, wind is 06015 knots. Approximately 30 degrees. The vertical toward the downwind side. Cover 1 hazard, rogue 2 shall be clear of all aircraft. Is 2 miles to the north. This is Airbus. We currently have 3 helos on the scene. The drogue shoots a splash down approximately 1,500 yards on a bearing of 240 from the command module. And Hornet, this is Airbus. You copy in the commentary. This is Hornet, combat affirmative. This is 4 to 1. The 3 is within 10 feet. The others are went 20 feet and 2 flotation branches visible at this time. The was commencing to go to forward. The module vertical firmly on the vertical axis. See the up. On station. Ball Hornet, I didn't copy photo 1 full report. Understand 2 flotation bags deployed and it's stable 1 now. Is that correct? Over. It is upright, but it is 2. Understand still stable 2.
Apollo 11 reported still in stable 2, but gradually righting itself.
Airbus combat, I'm not copying photo 1. Will you relay? Over. This is Airbus 1. Photo 1 says that it is still stable 2. The bags are inflating. It is not absolutely inverted now. It's 70 degrees to the vertical axis. Still stable 2. This is photo 1. The module is now 90 degrees vertical axis. This photo 1, command module is paper 1, location bag,
Apollo 11, stable 1 now, stable 1.
Airbus 1, this is Hornet Bridge. Stay wind is stable 1, over. Yes. Totally 1 instruction. Stability of the vertical axis is approximately 20 to 30 degrees. Hornet, roger. Hornet, recovery 1 and 30 deployed summers in 1 minute. Swim 2, take station for deployment. On 2. Hornet, roger.
Swimmers to deploy in about 1 minute.
Country is in position. For the first swimmer. Roger, some 2, swimmer, cover 1 here, clear. Contact commencing.